Vita works with a lot of technologists.
Mhm.
I mean, in many respects, we try to support the tech community both within the executive branch, within independent agencies, higher education, other public bodies. As we think about those folks that we're working with, they're in the process of developing new
Mhm.
offerings, new software products, and that they're trying to launch. In your opinion, what are your thoughts around the right time to talk to your security partners?
Yeah.
I mean, when is the right time to bring them on board and talk about what you're doing and talk about where you're going and talking about the technology that you're using and what is your process? When's the right time to start having those collaborative meetings?
So I'll say that there's like three critical points. I encourage discussion frequently because sometimes what will happen is you'll actually get good consulting advice. I'll say security folks tend to be really good about asking questions to say, hey, have you considered doing it this way? Or have you considered this, particular arrangement with any technology? Because they have to know the full stack. If you're going to ask them like a specific line of code, they're probably not going to be that helpful.
Mhm.
But if you're asking about design or architecture, they tend to be pretty good about knowing, hey, when you're having these two systems that need to communicate with each other, and you've got this data that's got to pass from this point to this point, or it's got to be analyzed in a certain way, they'll give you a few things to think about, and it gives you a way to both, sort of figure out some of the questions that you may not know to ask, right? As well as understand or maybe be challenged a little bit into why you're doing something a certain way. I think most of the time that we end up in the security realm of having challenges is the question of, well, why'd you do it like that instead of like this, right? It's not usually that there isn't a way to do it. It's almost always the question of like, hey, you probably should have accounted for these three things, or whatever, when you're putting it in place. And I think having those conversations early on does help. The other piece is that knowing what you're going to do with the data that you've got is a big component. Because if it's one thing if you're going to collect some very basic information that you don't care about. Maybe it's like some simple training material that you're posting online that's equivalent to a website. Okay, great. People read it and they're done. Versus something that's very different, like maintaining citizen data or financial data or something else that's really important, will have a large impact, the Commonwealth, if something happens to it. So knowing, those types of questions up front help a lot. And we can, like I said, security folks can give a good idea about how to help with the design there.